Day 3 of the Asian Cup is in the books, and my, oh my, did we have some good games today. We're going to recap all 3 games today, but before we do that, guys, number 1, I need you to leave a like on the video, and 2, hit subscribe so you don't miss the daily Asian Cup content dropping on Deadball TV. Firstly, we got to start with Japan 4, Vietnam 2. What a banger of a game, and shout out to any of you watching this video who also got up at 5 in the morning or earlier to live stream this with us. I want to start with Japan because they're the runaway favorites for this Asian Cup, and they extended their streak of 4 or more goals scored to 5 straight games, which is absolutely ridiculous. I can hardly do that on FIFA sometimes, and Japan out here in real life, giving every single national team they face a 4-piece. There was certainly that Japanese individual brilliance on display. I thought Koei Takura had some really good defensive moments in the back. Keito Nakamura take a bow, sir, goal of the Asian Cup so far. Wataru Endo had his downsides, but had his bright spots as well. Junya Ito and Takumi Minamino, bro, where have you been? Minamino out here trying to prove that what he's doing at Monaco is not a fluke. And truth be told, he was pretty close to a hat trick in this game, if not for a good save from Philippe, the Vietnamese goalkeeper. The lads and I said this on the stream earlier this morning, and I want to reiterate it because I think it is noteworthy that Japan were down 2-1 to Vietnam on the verge of a disaster, and they didn't seem phased whatsoever. There really was not any vibe whatsoever that this team was rattled, and that is the mentality that I think has made this Japanese squad so lethal. Japan have become so confident and so calculated and so patient in their style of football that really it's a relentless strike for 90 minutes straight. And so even though they conceded 2 against Vietnam, and that's not something that Moriyasu will be proud of, he will be proud of the way that the team responded. And I think Japanese fans will be encouraged that Vietnam played damn near a perfect game and still lost 4-2. Now on the downside for Japan, Zion Suzuki doesn't look ready. He looked so raw, so nervous. The second Vietnamese goal, completely his fault. It's a terrible parry, and this is going to be a big problem the rest of the tournament. How many times have we seen it in the World Cup, Asian Cup, AFCON, whatever, a moment of individual brilliance, an incredible game or string of games from a goalkeeper who basically keeps their national team in it? I don't really know if we're going to see that from Zion Suzuki. At least today's performance did not give me any confidence for that. I also thought it was really weird that Moriyasu went with Mao Hosoya at the starting 9. I mean, it just, to me, seemed like a classic Moriyasu arrogant blunder. Like, this kid has no business being the starting 9 for Japan. I'm not saying the kid is trash or he's never going to become a good player, but again, this is not a U23 tournament. Like, you need to take this seriously. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of reeked of a little bit of hubris. And of course, conceding 2 set-piece goals against Vietnam is very, very concerning. I don't even know the last time Vietnam scored 2 set-piece goals in a game. And this inability to defend set pieces for Japan has been an Achilles heel for the team for a long time now. And if the Viets are scoring 2 against you, how many are the Australians going to get? Or what about the Iranians? That is definitely an area that the Japanese will need to address quickly. Going to the Vietnamese now, I thought that Philippe Troussier had a pretty solid game overall. I think the game plan was working to perfection. I mean, he could not have dreamt of 2 first-half goals against Japan. And I think the Vietnamese should take a little bit of solace and comfort in the fact that it takes a world-class strike from Nakamura to eventually lose the game. I feel like I absolutely need to shout out number 15 on Vietnam, Dinh Bác Nguyen. What an absolute baller. This kid is 19 years old, and he looked like one of the most dangerous players on the pitch, period. Not just on Vietnam, I'm including Japan as well. I have no idea where this kid plays club football, but he caught 2 bodies in this game, 2 nutmegs, one in Sugawara, one on Wataru Endo. We're talking about really, really good players here. The moment, the bright lights did not scare him whatsoever. So Vietnam, man, y'all really got a player to watch there. I'm very curious where this kid's career is going to go because I'd never heard of him before today, and he really showed out. And lastly, I feel like the Vietnamese defense did their thing. Unfortunately, when you're playing against a team like Japan who don't stop, they're relentless, you're eventually going to concede, and that's what happened. But I think overall a 4-2 scoreline is pretty encouraging for Vietnam. I feel like they'll be looking at Iraq and Indonesia and thinking, okay, we can probably get 4 points from these games. Of course, we'll see what Iraq and Indonesia look like tomorrow. We might do a live stream for that, but we'll see. Next up is UAE 3, Hong Kong 1, and wow, this game was mad entertaining, and it was mad open. I mean, it had everything. You had penalties, handballs, crunching tackles, shots off the crossbar. It was pretty epic. Am I a little salty that I decided to live stream Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea instead of this game? Yes. However, I was able to watch it back, and my God, I'm very impressed with Hong Kong, a team that I thought was the worst coming into the Asian Cup. Siu Chan scored Hong Kong's first goal at the Asian Cup in 56 years, which is pretty badass. The assist came from Everton, who, I gotta be honest, I thought he had a good game overall, but a pretty frustrating player for me to watch. I thought he was wasteful and made a made the wrong decision a few too many times for my liking. The tough thing with Hong Kong in this match is even though you played really well, you're not going to beat anybody if you concede 2 penalties. And truth be told, it probably should have been 3 penalties conceded. The first one is an unlucky handball. It sucks when those types of things happen in the sport. But the other one, the tackle in the 90th minute, just kind of completely unnecessary. And there was another one in maybe the 60th minute, 65th, I can't remember. I thought it was a clear as day penalty that the ref ended up not going with. So I guess Hong Kong got a little fortunate there. Regardless of the scoreline, I feel like Hong Kong definitely will be feeling good. The fact that they really pushed the UAE, a solid team, a lot of people's #1 dark horse in this tournament, to the brink at times. Now, does that mean that Hong Kong can get a result against Iran or Palestine? I mean, Iran, I don't think so. I really don't think they have a prayer. The Iranians looked deadly today, and we're going to get to that game next. Maybe against Palestine, they could be looking at another shootout, quite honestly. And from the UAE's perspective, I feel like Paulo Benso will be happy in the amount of chances created, but probably disappointed with how defensively vulnerable they looked against an opponent like Hong Kong. Because I'm telling y'all right now, if they play this exact same game against Iran, they're going to lose, and they're going to lose decisively. There were definitely moments in this game where Hong Kong's lack of just talent straight up kind of bailed out how the UAE was playing. That being said, I am very excited for the Iran clash because I think it's going to be fireworks. And lastly, we have Iran 4, Palestine 1. And in the first half of this game, Iran were so good. All Palestine could do was really foul, and that's what they did. And despite that, Iran goes ahead and scores 3 goals. And it looks like we're going to have an absolute beatdown, potentially a 5-6-0, and then Palestine scores kind of a fortunate goal, I would say, given the circumstances, right at the end of the first half. Then in the second half, Iran comes out and they look pissed. They look hungry. They're pushing for a goal. Azmoud eventually gets a kind of toe poke goal, kind of steals it from Taremi a little bit. That was kind of funny. And they go up 4-1, and I'm thinking, here we go. Floodgates are going to open again. But no, actually, after maybe the 65th, 70th minute, the Palestinians created like 4 really, really good chances, and I have no idea how they didn't score. I'm not going to really hold that against Iran. I mean, the game was in the bag. I don't think they really cared. And you got to think, when you're an Iran or a Japan or in Australia, Korea, you're thinking about the final, right? So you don't want to exert too much energy. I feel like the big teams are allowed to kind of chill a little bit, especially when you got a 3-goal lead. It is also worth noting that Iran have scored 3 goals or more in 4 of their last 5 games. So, you know, everybody's talking about Japan and how prolific they look offensively, but Iran are right there too. And this is the first time Palestine has conceded 4 goals since 2021, and I think that might be the most underrated kind of talking point with this game, is the fact that a team as defensively solid as Palestine, a team that played the Australians really, really well just a short while ago, 8-4. And truth be told, Mehdi Taremi should have had one, at least one in this game, you know? So I think to say that the Iranians should have won 6-2, something like that, I mean, that's not an egregious statement. I wasn't super familiar with this player before today, but Moharami, the right back for Iran, that dude looked like an absolute freak. I mean, if Godos didn't go off in this game and bag 2 assists, you could maybe be making the argument that guy was the man of the match. I also thought Mohebi looked really good when he came on as a sub late in the game. Was a menace down the left wing, created more than a few chances for Iran. And when I was looking back and saw that he didn't get an assist in this game, I was kind of scratching my head and asking myself how that's possible. Overall, I feel like this is going to be an underappreciated result for Iran. The fact that they weren't even really their clinical selves, especially in the second half. Oh my God, they missed so many chances in the second half. And they still scored 4 against a defensively very solid team in Palestine. I think that's a big deal. Of all of the favorites that have played so far, and you know, we still have South Korea and Saudi Arabia to go, you can make the argument that the Iranians look the most convincing. So yeah, the Persians will be feeling good about this game. From the Palestinian view, I mean, you gotta be thinking like, wow, how did we only score 1 goal here? And also at the same time, wow, how did we not concede 8? So I guess those kind of what ifs cancel each other out, and you're left with a scoreline of 4-1. I don't know how they're going to look against Hong Kong. Like, that match is just now suddenly fascinating to me, you know, because Hong Kong, it's not a big possession team. It's more like very quick offensive transitions and then try to get a shot away. How is that going to counter the Palestinian formation in defensive kind of preference? I have no idea, but I very much am looking forward to that match. And those are my thoughts about Asian Cup Match Day 3. You guys let me know your biggest takeaway down below in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Again, hit subscribe so you don't miss the daily videos covering the 2023 Asian Cup dropping on the channel. And check out our Twitter. The social media link is in the description of this video. Whenever you're like, Jack, when is the next live stream? If you follow us on Twitter or follow us on Instagram or hit subscribe, you're bound to know when the next one is happening. I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.